Proof of work is one of the most potent paradigms for any new culture, any new community of this nature. And to give some context for proof of work, I want to take you through a couple of different perspectives. So the first and perhaps most important thing to understand is that this is a new community and as such is giving birth to a new culture. And everything that emerges out of the community is given to it by each of us. And in some dynamics in relationships, for example, the metaphor of a chain, the chain is as weak as its weakest link, not as strong as its strongest link. And you can see this dynamic, for example, in communication. If 5 people can communicate extremely well, and one person cannot articulate and cannot listen, then the communication breaks down, not between the other 4, but between the 4 and the 1. You lose coherence. And so you want to have strong, competent people beginning and setting the tone, setting the templates for something new of this nature. The second thing is that excellent people who care about themselves are driven to excel out of self-respect, out of self-love, out of respect for the things they're involved in. They're driven towards excellence. And people who love themselves enough to do something well are also able to love other people. If you don't care about yourself enough to learn the skill of making money, for example, the world doesn't stop needing money in order to continue and purchase things. You just depend on other people. By being weak, other people have to be stronger to compensate for your lack of self-love in that area. This is true in any form. If you don't bother to learn the art of communication, if you don't bother to put core ideas down on paper. In my experience since the age of 14, when I first began defining, writing down, and achieving what would become thousands of goals, I noticed a 400% acceleration in the meaningful things that I accomplished in a given year. In other words, if I didn't write down clearly defined goals, I achieved 400% less. Well, it's, I guess, would be 80% less, 400% more when I wrote things down. Well, that's not only a very significant difference, but it's been found that the most successful and potent people on the planet of any kind have a very clear sense of what's important to them and can put it into words. And so to start something new where there are so many things to accomplish, that's a key skill. Do you have that technology? And perhaps the most important thing to think about is that when you go from a relatively incompetent group of people where nobody knows how to do or can't be motivated and bothered to do any of 5 key skills needed to engage. And you move to a group of people where you and the other people in the group are competent in those 5 key skills that are important to engage. You don't just see a lineal improvement in the outcome of the group, in what the group is able to accomplish. You see an exponential improvement. In other words, if you go from 4 or 5 incompetent people who don't know the 5 most important skills to relate, and all 5 of those people learn all 5 of those skills, you don't just get 5 plus or 5 times 1 in kind of units of benefit. You see you see 5 times 5. You see 25 more units of benefit. And the thing to think about is that however hard the threshold is, or however high the standard is, that's the standard of the people you'll be relating to. And so a high standard is something to celebrate because it means you'll be surrounded by competent people. And with that, what I invite you to do with this form is fill it out to the best of your ability as point A in the process. Then make an action plan if there's a gap between what you can fill out at this point and excellence. Make an action plan on the things that you can do over the next 6 months that can make your answers excellent. And then track that process, because this is a key map for people that will follow. And while it's not as important in an established community where the law of osmosis, which is the dominant cultural way that memes are transmitted, you just spend time with people and copy them, that can't be done for the founders of a new culture, of a new community. Your map towards excellence in these areas is a useful path for others to follow. I look forward to chatting with you and reading the answers of your questionnaire and seeing your proof of work.